Okay, Mr. Bavarian Olympic officer, here are a list of worst case scenarios that could happen at the Olympics that might put people in danger. I have a few ways we could prevent them, and everything. I just need the go-ahead and the resources to do so.
And we need what to prevent all of this?
We need security guards mostly, with handguns, definitely some walkie-talkies, and if you're up for it, some security cameras around the stadium.
What? Are you nuts? Do you know who was running Germany last time the Olympics came around? If you're gonna have a bunch of security officers with guns and all this techie stuff going on, you know what they're gonna think? They're gonna think we're evil again. They're gonna think that we're using the public eye to flex our military muscle again, and then what? We'll be in so much hot water they'll bring back the guilt clause from when we lost World War I. And even if, it jeopardizes our vision of the games, and I was entertained by your idea, but we simply can't go through with it.
Fighting a smile, highly annoyed when the timing is right. I'll rise from a chord, cool for the monster beat. The blockhead got animal drums like you Dr. Steve. Goes red like green like 1, 2, 3. We don't need no walkie-talkies, no walkie-talkies. We don't need your coffin went off in the morning coffee now.
So the Munich Massacre all started when members of part of a group called Black September scaled a fence in the Olympic Village in a German state called Munich. Disguised as athletes, they entered the Israeli quarters with stolen keys, and when they tried to enter the first apartment, a referee and a coach confronted them. The coach attempted to fight against them, which led to the intruders shooting the coach and forcing the referee to lead them to the other Israeli Olympians. He led them to apartment 3, which housed the weightlifters and wrestlers, assuming that they would have been able to help deal with the intruders. However, he completely forgot that in apartment 2 held the shooting team, which could have possibly stopped them. Hey, I feel like I heard a bunch of people walking outside our door. You think we should check?
Actually, yeah, what do you think, Steve?
The games continued on, while the hostages were being used, and the terrorists demanded the freeing of 200 Palestinians in prison, including Andreas Bader and Ulrich Meinhof, who were leaders of the Red Army faction. They also wanted an airplane to fly them to the Middle East since it was safe for them there, in exchange for freeing the hostages. After the negotiations, the terrorists were going to bring their remaining Israeli hostages to West Germany, then fly out to the middle of the East. But West Germany and a civilian police force were planning to ambush the terrorists, but their planning was nothing but bad. They had snipers, but the snipers had no training, and instead of sniper rifles, they had assault rifles. And they also had 12 officers disguised as Luftwaffe workers, but they abandoned their posts, so you can see how that's going. Two terrorists investigated the jetliner, and since most of the workers left their post, they were like, this is suspicious, and shouted to their friends. Then, the West Germany police fired on them. Several terrorists were killed, and one police officer was killed. Then, a terrorist shot out floodlights showing the tarmac.
And as we know, you can't shoot what you can't see.
At some point, a terrorist tossed a grenade into the helicopter that held the hostages and killed all but one. But that one died due to smoke inhalation because the rescue effort wasn't quick enough. An armored car showed up without a way to communicate with the other forces, so they strolled up and shot a terrorist dead.
Then a German pilot and sniper got shot up by the armored car because it was really dark, leaving it a high capacity for friendly fire.
Beforehand, some police guy named George Sieber made a list of situations that could happen, that were bad, during the Olympics. One of these situations predicted the entire massacre, and when it was presented to the German state government, they tossed it aside in fear of the vision of the games. And, as for Israel's response, it was to make a campaign called Wrath of God to completely eradicate Black September, which was a very successful covert operation to assassinate people behind the Munich Massacre, until they killed some innocent man in Norway in 1977, which was kind of a violation to Norway's safety. So, they suspended it, but then they didn't, and then completed their final mission when they killed the main guy behind the attack, called Ali Hassan Salameh, with a car bomb. Germany decided to take a lot of responsibility with this whole mess, to an extent that they made a counter-terrorism unit under the Federal Guard called GSG-9, and they're good at the job. Good for them. As for the world's reaction to the massacre, it was one of horror. The only people who liked the massacre were the people in Black September. As for the world's reaction to Israel's response, it probably wasn't one because the Operation Wrath of God was covert. But As for the innocent Norwegian man, well, I have no proof to suggest this, but it was either a shameful diplomatic approach by Israel and Norway,
We're just discovering his death now, in the retrospective.
or the world did hear about it and condemned Israel's actions, and I don't have any sources for it.
But what about GSG-9?
Well, I mean, they have the best guns in the game, and all their operators are very viable rush builds.